Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the show, the RR Show, the best show on the internet. Today I have got some juicy ones for you from r/entitled people. So hold on to your hats, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you have taken a second to ensure you are following the show on whatever platform it is you are watching it. And without further ado, let's jump in with our first story from u/nosyllabub. The discussion that made me dump my ex. No one asked for this short story, but as I still remember it, better to write it down. So in the last few weeks of my precious relationship with my narcissistic ex, we were dining with his mum and stepdad in a city a couple hours away. I got so anxious I can't even remember what I ate, as the mum and son started talking about selling my house and buying a flat from a building right next door to his mum. That area was high-end buildings, and even the smallest flat cost hundreds of thousands, so my 40k cabin would definitely not be enough. He mentioned this as a hindrance, and his mum was convinced it would go just fine. I felt just so uncomfortable. I was too anxious to bark that I wouldn't sell my house for them to put me in debt. After the meal, we started the long drive home, and as he didn't have a car, I was the one driving and paying for fuel. For some reason, we returned to the topic, and I'm like, you understand I'll never move to that city, don't you? The university I want to go to is in a different direction, and if I ever move, it's that city. And he was like, well, you'll never get to university, you don't have enough time to study. His tone had joy in it as well as annoyance. He was the reason I didn't have time to study, and he knew it. I had to stay with him all my free time, or he accused me of treating my dogs better than him. I wish I could say we argued the whole drive home, but I was too much of a pushover to keep arguing. This car drive home was the last straw for me. I finally understood he never respected my life choices, never respected my wishes, and never thought of me as an equal. I am so glad I got rid of him. Alright, next story is a much bigger one, so get ready for this. It is from Supervisor Confession, entitled Customer Demands Crazy Warranty. So this happened like 2011 or 2012. I was working for an electrical contractor, and I was the point person for installing EV chargers. We were working with another company that managed grants from the government to cover installation costs of these chargers as an incentive to get people to buy EV cars. Under most circumstances, if someone had room in their panel and the charger was within 10 to 15 feet, we could do the installation for free. The incentive was about $1,200. I'd say 75% of the installations were free. If they weren't, the incentive would be applied and they would pay the difference. There was one customer I will never forget because he was so cheap and entitled. One of my electricians went to visit the house and took photos, dimensions, etc. so we could build out the estimate. This was pretty much a worst case scenario. The panel was in the bathroom, inside the wall, behind a mirror like a secret passage over the toilet. Major code violation. In order to run the circuit, we would have to cut out the back of the panel, down into the crawl space, out of the house again, through a raised garden bed next to the house, under a sidewalk, and into the garage. Then we'd need to mount a small panel. He wanted a panel so he could add lights and power to his garage, and then finally install the charger. The run was well over 100 foot. The electrician said it would take him at least 2, probably 3 days. I worked up the estimate and contacted the customer with my total. After the incentive, he would have to pay $3,000 out of pocket, and that's after the $1,200 discount. At first, he didn't make a big deal of it. He had a large house in a wealthy area and had a big tech job. He could certainly pay. However, he then started asking me questions about my quote. Everything was normal until he got into the warranty. Nearly every contractor in the USA offers a 1-year warranty for their work. This covers defective parts, bad installation, etc. Pretty standard. He then asked, why is it only a year? I told him how that's standard practice, but he responded, well, I want a 10-year warranty. I told him that was impossible and I would get fired if I offered him that. He complained some more, then said we should compromise at 2 years. Again, I told him no. I had no authority to extend the warranty, and that kind of thing was unheard of. The only extended warranties I've ever heard of have been for 8 or 9-figure jobs, and it was a condition before bidding. Even then, super rare. Once he realized that path was dead, he then started asking me about the warranty on the materials. The charger itself had a warranty of 5 years, and the pipe and wire had about a 10-year warranty. I told him that the pipe and wire warranty would be his responsibility to follow up on, and it would only cover materials, no labor. He thought this was bullshit and started going on about how another brand of EV charger had a 10-year warranty that he could get from the hardware store. I said, yeah, that's great, but this incentive only covers this charger that we offer. We'd be happy to install that for you, but there wouldn't be any incentive. Finally, he thanked me and said he'd think about it. A couple of days later, he emailed me and said, I'm very disappointed in your lack of a 10-year warranty. In lieu of this, I want a $2,500 discount instead of $1,200 and a 2-year warranty. At this point, I was done with this jerk and he emailed my contact at the other company. The contact's name was Pam, and she was a really nice, reasonable person. I forwarded the customer's email to Pam and explained the situation. She agreed that this guy was being ridiculous. She then forwards the emails to her boss, Todd. He then replies to the customer to try to resolve the issue. Todd, unfortunately, forwards the entire email chain to the customer, including the parts where Pam called him difficult and ridiculous. Thankfully, none of us said anything offensive. The customer was still very upset at what was said in the email and tried to backtrack and say, I wasn't trying to be difficult, I just want to get the best deal possible. Todd finally pulls his head out of his butt and simply tells him, look, I'm sorry you're disappointed, but I think our services aren't what you're looking for. I suggest you go ahead with the alternate charger so that you can get the best deal possible. And with that, we were finally done with this guy. I blocked him on my phone and email and never heard from him again. I did, however, learn one very valuable lesson. Always write your emails in a professional manner, just as if the person you're talking about might read it. Because sometimes, just sometimes, they will. And you don't want to say something that will bite you in the ass later.